Doug Foss was another one. Cute guy, enjoyed in school. We went to a prom together. He came from a very large family, and his whole family is very well known in New Haven. Very nice family, and he's still just as good looking.
Now, Doug was at the reunion last year, and he was one of our key people or closer group people that we saw and did more things of, and he was just really, really friendly, really outgoing, and have good memories.
Doug Foss. There's some stories to tell about him, but we won't tell them.
Now, see, now he brings a smile to our face, Gary. This is not good.
Barb lived on up to Gratiot and then over about a half a mile, so she was a neighbor about a mile away. And our families kind of knew each other, and my sister knew her sister and such. And Barb was just a real nice person.
Barbara Battistelli, she was one of the ones that are always athletic and just bubbly all the time.
Oh, and Jim Belkey. Well, Jim, I remember we'd, in the summertime again, go off and do things to the streams to go fishing and just kind of hanging out as young guys in a small town looking for something to do.
Dave Devlomnik, I knew him even before New Haven. I knew him in Mount Clemens. We lived on the same street and went to school together in Mount Clemens, and then we both wound up in New Haven.
Yeah, John was a good fellow. We did, we weren't really close together, but John was just a good, solid person. What I understand later on is that he did very well in academics and went on to be his degree in law.
John Akers, good guy. Just saw John
last year.
Yeah, last year. He's living in California. Yeah. Good guy. Very happy-go-lucky guy,
John Akers, he was cut up pretty much. It seemed like he enjoyed life and was having a good time in school. I like John Akers very much.
Jim Smith, him and we hung around together almost all the time in high school. He was probably one of my best buddies in school. But I don't see him much. He's out in California. So I don't, I haven't seen him much since school. Occasionally, but that's all. And, Jim played a lot of sports. He played football, baseball. I'm not sure if he played. Yeah, I think he played basketball too. So.
I think he did.
Pretty athletic, yeah. Good catcher. Played in the high school baseball team. Was a good catcher. I remember that.
He's quite a guy. Quite a nice guy, and into sports as well. And great football player. Just a lot of fun to be around.
Jim was a friendly, outgoing person also, and his sports leanings were more into the football and baseball, and he was just a good, solid classmate.
Nancy Nelson hung around with her a bit in school, and she was really nice, studious, did very well in school. Rosie Reichenbach, I've seen her occasionally at some of the reunions. She was one of the really intelligent ones in our class, did very well scholastically.
Rosalie, as I remember, was one of our more gifted, intellectually talented people and academically oriented, and I'm sure she must have done very well. I recall seeing her one time at Wayne State, just kind of bumped into her, and she was doing well. But
Joyce Murray, she was on our basketball team. Our basketball team is the only girls basketball team since 1961 to ever win a championship. So we're all pretty proud of that. She was on the team. Joyce Murray, I just remember, if you see this, Joyce, sorry about this, but she beat me up one day in the playground because she thought I was interfering with her boyfriend, but I wasn't, Joyce, honest to goodness.
Jim Neely, see Jim all the time. Great guy. Been very successful. Just one of the true good guys.
Jim was one of my good friends, and so we hung out quite a bit together, going places and doing things. And he was a very, very smart and energetic and innovative kind of person. And I understand he did very well in the business world, putting a company together. And
Jim Neely, he's turned into quite a handsome man, married to one of his high school friends, and I see him quite often as well. Had a crush on him at one time. Don't know if he knew that, but
Marlene Crawford, oh gosh, this goes back. I think she was our class president, if I remember right. Marlene was kind of like a person that could really organize things quite well. So as a consequence, because of Marlene and the other gals, you know, there was this tight-knit association there with our class of 61.
Marlene she was a nice person, just had a lot of fun with her in school. You spend a lot of time over to her house. They always had parties over to her house, and it was a good place to hang out.
Marlene Crawford is one of the group, in the group that gets together once a year. We were smoking buddies in school. I don't know if I could say that or not, but we did enjoy a cigarette together now and then, and she had a lot of great pajama parties at her house.
Edward Libsite, yeah, I remember Ed. We kind of hung around a little bit from time to time and did some things. You know, Ed was, I'm sure, a success in life. He was, you know, bright and outgoing, and
Ed Lipsite, I went on a hayride with Ed Lipsite. Don't know if he remembers that or not, but we did.
Bob Buckley, he was a neighbor of mine. Bob and I, we hung around together all the time out of school, and just a good guy. Good guy. I haven't seen him in a long time. He used to live right up here, half a mile from me right now.
Patricia Thompson. Pat was our valedictorian, and she was one that you always, you know, knew was always going to get the A's, and you kind of set the bar in terms of, you know, what the rigors for the class were, and I'm sure she was, at that time, she was a very smart, academically gifted student. And
Pat Thompson beat me out for valedictorian. I was salutatorian and she was valedictorian, so she concentrated a lot on her studies and was really into music.
Jim Light, yeah, Jim, you know, he and I sort of had a good friendship, and Jim liked the outdoors. He liked hunting and fishing and such. And Jim came to the reunion, and he had started a business in building racks for automobile parts, and so it's a welding fabrication shop. And I just kind of give Jim a lot of credit to go out there and start a business and to run it over the years into a thriving business and be able to manage it and everything. And
Jim Light was a good guy. Again, I knew his whole family. Jim and I, we've hung around together for a lot of years, and his dad and my dad managed and coached a baseball team together, a softball team in Mount Clemens, so Jim and I spent a lot of time together with the ball team and had a lot of fun together.
And Geraldine Calhoun, another good buddy that we had a lot of fun with Geraldine. She was a crack up.
Cynthia Chaffee, another one of the good Chaffies. Great person, still a great person, just friendly. It's always a pleasure to see her, you know.
yeah, Cynthia was another, you know, dynamic gal in the class, and you know, academically talented and successful, and yeah, she was just a really nice person to be around. Saw her at the reunion. It was just wonderful catching up on times.
Don Tomeko, Don was a character in school too. He was fun in school. I just saw Don not too long ago.
And Carrie, yeah, I remember Carrie. Carrie was you know, a good classmate, and everybody liked, you know, having Carrie be around or being around Carrie. He was just easygoing guy, and you know, no complication, just fun to be with.
Very, very nice looking, great guy. I think he was a cousin of Bonnie Reed's in our class, and he married somebody from New Haven High School, and they live out in Meade, I think, and I liked Carrie Wagner. He's still good looking. You're still good looking, Carrie, in case you see this.
John Spaller, he'd tickle your funny bone too. He was comical. Still is, still comical. Still, I get a kick out of him whenever I'm fortunate enough to see him.
Art was always upbeat and a lot of quick things to say that were insightful. And Art, you know, his family had a business there in town, and you know, and he went. I think Art is at the reunion. He was very big into computers and doing a real terrific job.
Marilyn Harms, she was one of the ones that hung around with the girls that She was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun with her in school.
Marilyn Harm, very popular, nice looking gal, and she married somebody whose last name was Monroe, so she became Marilyn Monroe. But, liked her very much.
Yeah, Marilyn Harm. Yeah, well, this goes back. She was at at the reunion last year, and kind of one of the gals that kind of, I don't know, had a lot of spark and vivacious, I guess.
About all I remember about him, he was short. I don't remember much about
He's
him.
probably 6 foot by now.
Yeah.
Bonnie Reed, she just passed away. She was another very excellent basketball player. She was a guard on the team, and she was one of those people that was a real cut up and was always trying to zing you with things, always throwing zingers, and she knew how to get to you, but we really miss her.
Bonnie, another good classmate that remember the years, and she's kind of one of the gals that kind of held the class together, and was just a good social person. And
Bonnie was my cousin. She's since passed on too. Just she was involved in all the athletics and involved in anything to be involved in school. Very
energetic when she was
Yeah.
in school.
yeah, very much so.
Phyllis Avant, she was one of my buddies. She was we had a group of gals that hung around together, about 10 of us, and Phyllis was one of those. And she was an excellent sportswoman, star of our basketball team, and a lot of fun to be with. I enjoyed Phyllis. We had a lot of good times together.
Phyllis Avant, she was studious. She was a smart girl, nice girl, friendly. And she played some sports too, didn't she? Didn't she play basketball, I think?
I think so.
And Larry Seifert, he was, of course, the son of the superintendent. Larry and I were voted the most likely to succeed in the class of 1961. I don't know if he has or where he is or what he's doing, but hope he's doing well.
Diane Churchill, I see Diane quite a bit yet. Diane's a very nice person. Diane's always willing to help people out and does a lot of work for the church and good all-around person.
We live pretty close together, just down the street from one another. We did an awful lot as families, and I've known her for a good many years and is still in touch with her. And we get together once a year and have a reunion, a weekend together. And
one of our group that were, that hung around a little more together, and Dan. Dan was just a nice guy. You go off and do things with him and enjoy yourself.
Dan Dodge was one of my high school boyfriends. Great dancer. We loved to dance together, and just saw him again at our 45th class reunion. First time I'd seen him since we graduated, but still a nice guy.
Pamela Fordyce, I think she was one of the first ones in the class that passed away that I can recall. She was a nice person.
Lester was a real live wire. But in terms of a friend, he would come out to my dad's farm, and we would hang out and do things, and stay overnight, and then I'd go to his place. He lived with his 2 aunts there in Gratiot, and Lester was kind of a guy that everybody just liked.
Lester Pringle. Lester was one of my friends in school. I always liked Lester. He was just a funny, likable guy, but never seen him after school, heard where he's at or anything.
And Tony Norkaitis, she was our big forward on the basketball team. She was maybe about 6 feet tall. She was I think she was the tallest girl in our class, and good forward on the basketball team.
Joanne Jagoda, she might have been one of the first. No, she wasn't the first one to pass away, but she's passed away too. Very nice person, very nice. I know her whole family, and it's just a nice family. The whole family's a good family.
Gerald Browning, boy, Gerald lived just up the road across Gratiot, and boy, he probably had a very successful career. I understood early on he got into forwards and he was into management at a young age, and he's just a nice person and very well-built, powerful powerful person. And
Gerald Browning, he was funny too. He would get you laughing at times. He's another one that was always cracking jokes, and good guy, very good guy.
Gerald Browning, oh, good old Gerald Browning. He was the one that went around the halls pretending he was a car. He'd be rooming up and down the halls. He was a funny guy.
Ron, very nice person, very nice. Ron lives out in Arizona. He's one of the ones I consider lucky.
yeah, Ron Keeler. Ron turned out, he came to the reunion last year and, is doing well. And, Ron was a kind of a guy. He was studious and, just took things serious and, worked hard. And
Ronald Keeler, I still keep in touch with him. He emails me a lot and doesn't have to wear those glasses anymore that magnified his eyes, but he was a very nice guy. Liked Ronald Keeler.
Charlotte was another good studious student in the class, and she was involved in different projects and was the alumni coordinator for the class for many years.
And Charlotte Shute, we had a great time on the senior class trip, and she's just one of the nicest gals in the class.
Charlotte Shute, very nice person. Charlotte's a very nice, very friendly person.
Not athletic, but very involved in everything.
Involved in everything. Wasn't athletic, but involved in everything else in school as far as I can remember. And just a super friendly person. She crossed the freeway to say hi to you.
Sandra Burish was my best friend in school. She is no longer living. She died from ovarian cancer, which caused us all a lot of sorrow and grief. She was also on the basketball team and an excellent student. Wound up being a chemist for the Gerber Company up in Fremont, Michigan.
Sandra Burish. Now, Sandra lived on Gratiot across from Barbara Battistelli, and she was one of the core gals that really were academically oriented and did good jobs and studied hard and were just good people in school that always got their homework done and never got into trouble or mischief or anything.
Sandra Burish, she was a very nice person. She was athletic. She played basketball and that, if I remember right.
Don Byerline, he was one of the comedians in the class. Had a great time on our senior trip with him. He was just a lot of fun to be with.
Don was a character. He would tickle your funny bone once in a while. He was comical.
Remember Tylene very well. She was a good student and kind of one of the gals that kind of put a bond in the class and people gravitated to, and she was just friendly and just a lovely person.
She was also quite smart in school and quite popular, good looking.
Oh, and Stephen Diaz. Yeah, I remember he lived in town, and I'd go over and spend time with Steve and his brother Ralph Diaz, and just kind of go into town and do things. And
just a really nice guy, sharp dresser. In fact, I think he was voted best dresser in the class.
Stephen Diaz, good guy. Haven't seen him since school though.
Richard Bruder, Dickie Bruder, he was kind of one of our core friends. You had maybe about a dozen of us that were closer, and Dickie was a good friend, and he was good friends with Jim Neely, and they did a lot of things together and such.
Susan Morocco, she's the one married to Joseph Kozup. They were high school sweethearts. She was our homecoming queen one year, and part of a group that gets together every year. I still see her and talk to her quite a bit, and have always enjoyed her company, love being with her.
Susan Morocco, I see her all the time. She's married to Joe Kozup. And, very nice person. Again, she was athletic. She played sports.
Susan Morocco. Now, Susan was our class treasurer. She married Joe Kozup, and they had children, very successful life, and The thing about Susan, just a very, very nice personality and very thoughtful in the way to express and to her writing and everything. She's just a very nice person to, just sit down and chat and talk with and, catch up on old times.
Vera Nolan, now she's married to Jimmy Neely, and Vera and I grew up together. We started kindergarten together and went all through school together. A lot of fond memories. Just a super nice person from a super nice family.
Vera Nolan married Jim Neely, and saw him at the reunion this past year, and they're doing well. And Vera is also very good in computers, and so I'm sure that she must have been helping Jim with the business they put together. But she's just a very nice person.
Fun gal. I was very close with her and her family, and spend lots of nights with her at her house. And her parents used to treat me like one of theirs, and they'd line the kids up for an allowance, and they'd put me in the line. They'd give me an allowance too.
Another one of these kind of dignified people that came from New Haven and studied hard and did good things in their life.
Tom Griffin, Tom and I, we used to hang around together a little bit. He was athletic. Tom played a lot of sports. Haven't seen him since school.
Tom Griffin, he was a popular guy in school, sports, in all the sports, and fun to be with. When I double dated with him one time.
Tom was a good guy. I ran across him later, maybe about 15 years out of high school, and he was working as a sporting goods manager, and I'm sure he was working his way up through the system to be to use his talent. He was good on our football team, and he was one of the leaders of the team. And
Earl Pillivan, Earl and I, we used to hunt and fish together a little bit too, but I haven't seen Earl in, oh golly, lots of years.
Al Smith, hey, he was one of the good-looking guys in class. Went with my friend Donna Cedar all through school, and he's become quite a wealthy man, I hear.
Albert was kind of a young man that was just very, very friendly and outgoing, and come in and can get a party going and get people talking and just be lively and friendly and entertaining, and he had a good talent in basketball. He was a good ball player.
Larry Cuckoo, I see Larry just about daily. Larry didn't play sports, didn't get involved in much at school, and still a good guy though.
She was really studious, very smart gal, didn't participate a whole lot in school, but everybody knew her and liked her very much.
George LeGraff, him and I used to hunt and fish together quite a bit. He didn't play sports or anything, but we had our own sports we participated in. We did a lot of fishing and hunting.
Bob Hoffman was another fun guy to be around, and didn't participate a whole lot in school, but you knew he was around and knew you could have fun with him.
Bob Hoffman, yes. Bob and I, we go way back. I still see Bob all the time. Good guy, still a hard-working guy.
Nellie Akers was his sister. She was just a real nice personality, nice lady. Just nice to have around and be around.
Nellie, a beautiful young lady, and I remember she just always looked sharp and was sharp, and she'd sometimes like to get your homework from you or have you do her homework, but what the heck, we liked her.
Nellie Akers, the sister, very beautiful girl. Very beautiful girl. Just nice people.
Robert lived a half a mile up the road on 27 Mile Road from me, and so we kind of hung out together and did some things, and unfortunately he had an automobile accident at a young age. And
Donna Cedar, another one that gathers with us once a year, and we go away somewhere for a weekend at somebody's house and just act like we were still in high school.
Donna Cedar, she's one of the girls that hangs around with a whole bunch that still get together all the time. Very nice person. Very nice person. She was athletic. She played basketball, I think.
Donna was one of the gals that kind of pulled a lot of things together, and she was just a nice, nice person. She was at our reunion last year, and it was just really good to sit and, talk and catch up on times with Donna.
Loretta Chamberlain, she was excellent music student, very nice gal, and she came a little later in the school year, but enjoyed her company as well.
Joe Kozub, I see Joe all the time. Joe played sports in school. He was involved in just about everything in school, all the sports, and Joe and I hung around together quite a bit.
Joe is just a really friendly guy, outgoing, no problems or issues with anybody. And he was our, I believe, the quarterback on the football team, and very athletic. And he married Susie Morocco, and the two have their children and family, and they had the party there at the reunion.
Joe Kozub, I still see him often. He married his high school sweetheart, and very sports-minded in school, and just a really nice guy. And he's
Kent Meyer, Sonny Meyer, yeah, Kent was at the reunion, and what I'd heard recently is that he'd, married Barbara Battistelli, and so out of our class we've got 3 couples, that are married. And Sonny was one of our star basketball players. I remember, he's just very good on the court.
Kent Meyer, Sonny, we all call him. Nobody, I don't think, much ever called him Kent, and he's the one that just married his high school sweetheart, Barbara Battistelli. He was a boyfriend of mine in school.
Kent Myers, see him every once in a while. Matter of fact, him and Barbara Battistelli just got married a couple weeks ago. And he was fun. Used to hang around with him quite a bit and had a good time. And he played sports, and good singer, very good singer too.
Doris Ivory, I liked her very much. She and I had to make a skirt for home ec class, and our parents didn't have a whole lot of money. We wound up having the same material, and it was kitchen curtain material with roosters on it, and we each had to sew our own skirt, and I wound up sewing mine with the roosters upside down, and we had to wear them to school that day. So Doris and I were both in our rooster skirts. Mine were upside down though.
Good class though, good class. Everybody got along together good, and they still get along together good whenever we get together at reunion or whatever. The
occasion.
people that are there always have a good time.
Our class was like one big family, it seemed. Nobody was much left out, everybody, gathered together, did things together, and worked on floats together, and it was one of the best, I think, one of the best graduating classes. As far as sports, a lot of the sports were concerned, and it was just a fun class to be with. I loved every moment of my high school years. I have great memories of New Haven.